So this video is for OCR GCSE Business Studies, and it's looking at the higher marked questions. And what we're going to be doing is delving into a 7-mark question in this video. Now, a 7-mark question may have command terms such as discuss, evaluate, recommend. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at, well, what assessment objectives are expected to be achieved to get full marks and how to achieve them. So just to get us started, let's have a look at a text. Because remember, this question will be based on a situation that has been presented to you in a case study. This specific case study is based on Martina Doyle, who's currently working for National Health Service, but she's decided that she's going to quit a job and she's going to start a business. And it's going to be a private sports injury clinic. Now, I will return back to the case study, but let's have a look at the question. There's no point spending lots and lots of time reading the case study until you've read the questions, and because then you know what you're looking for in the case study. So once you've read the question, then you should return to the case study. So the question, this question has the command term evaluate. So you have to have an evaluation. And it's whether Martina should use her own savings or a bank loan. So the focus in this question is based on your knowledge and understanding of the use of savings or the ability to get a bank loan. And that is to buy the equipment for MD Sports Clinic. So again, that is the context. So what is the examiner looking for? Well, to begin with, they're looking for application. And there's 2 marks for application. But it's also worth remembering that you can get an additional mark for application, but within the evaluation. So I'll delve into that in a second. So what I mean by application is it has to be consistent throughout the whole answer. You're going to have 2 major arguments, one for bank loan, one for savings, and in both arguments, you have had to apply your analysis to the given situation. The examiner is also looking for analysis, so you cannot just list points. What you need to do is you need to build up a chain of argument, and that's where development strands are absolutely essential. So far we've got 4 marks, but we've still got 3 marks left, and those 3 marks come in the evaluation. So straight away you can see if you don't evaluate, you've got a problem because you're missing out on 3 marks instantly. So what we'll do is we'll look at, well, what is the examiner looking for to get the full marks in evaluation? So let's go back to the text. Now I know the question, I'm going to be looking for specific areas of the case study which I believe I can use as evidence to my arguments. So I've seen straight away total savings of over £5,000. She's planning to leave the NHS, which I think is important because it's going to be a first business that she's created. She needs to buy equipment, as the question also states. A fixed cost of £6,000, but she's also got variable costs of £5 per session and £30 per session as well. Right, okay, so what you could be doing as well, as you're reading the case study, you could be annotating the case study. So, for example, the equipment and first month's fixed cost will exceed her savings. I can see that straight away. The fixed cost for 1 month is £6,000. She also needs to buy equipment. So straight away, she's going to be stretching that first month. Also, the risk of the new venture because it's a first job. It's a first business that she's started. So I'm annotating the case study, and just as I'm planning the question and reading the case study, I'm annotating in terms of how I could use these potential points. So my first point, I'm going to go for a bank loan to begin with. It doesn't matter which order you do. You could do the savings first. It really doesn't matter. But I've chosen the bank loan, and I've said that if Martina obtained the bank loan, she'd quickly have all the funds required to start her business. So this could include the sum of her equipment, but also enough to help cover expenses in the first few months of trading. So I've highlighted that in red because I believe that I'm achieving AO2 from that, because I'm thinking about the equipment and I'm thinking about how expensive her first few months are. As a bank loan is a long-term source of finance, she will negotiate monthly repayments with the bank, allowing for an agreed amount of interest, which, if the business is a success, should not cause cash flow problems, because obviously it's staggered payments. You're paying it over a period of time. That could be years. So yeah, as a new business, a bank may need security, and as this is her first venture, again in red, highlighting application, it holds significant risk, and ultimately, if the business isn't successful, she's at risk of losing possessions from non-repayment. So I think from that argument, I've at least achieved 1 mark for AO2 and 1 mark for AO3A because I've built a chain of analysis and I've included application. But to get the full marks, it needs to be consistent throughout the whole answer. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my second argument, and I have to look at savings because I want that balanced argument before I make a decision. So what I've done is I've said Martina has saved and has £5,000 in her account. Application, because I've used the case study and I've used the data. And this can be injected into the business without the requirement of additional charges or repayments. So I'm starting to compare and contrast with the bank loan. This would reduce the risks that other sources such as a bank loan may possess and therefore enable a more careful approach for her first business. Again, in red for application, but there's that chain of development. I haven't just stopped, for example, in terms of after repayment. I've carried on thinking about, well, why is that important to Martina and her situation? So now I'm confident that I've got 2 marks for AO2 and 2 marks for AO3A. So now I just need to do my evaluation. Now, my evaluation, I do not want to repeat what I've previously said, because why does the examiner want to read it twice? What I want to do is I want to weigh it up, and I want a weighted, justified judgment. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to signpost to the examiner that this is my evaluation. You have to remember the examiner is marking hundreds of scripts and just try and make their job a little bit easier. So I'm going to say in judgment to the question, and therefore the examiner knows, okay, that's where the evaluation fully starts. So I believe that Martina should use a bank loan. Well, straight away, I've highlighted that in red because that is my decision and I can get a mark for giving that decision. But I need, obviously, to get the other 2 marks. And that's where the justification comes in, and it has to apply to the situation. So I've put Martina needs, so the equipment Martina needs, as well as her expenses in the first month, would exhaust her entire savings. And therefore, obviously, the £6,000 in the first month and the equipment, we don't know what the cost of the equipment is, but we can guess that this is going to be greater than £5,000. So she might still require additional funding. At least if she kept her savings and did experience difficulties, she could use her savings during these moments to sustain her cash flow. So that's my justification. My main weighted justification is that she hasn't got enough in her savings.